Coming soon on Sky Sports in a week's time, England, New Zealand Part 2 here at Twickenham. The final chapter in the Woodward pre-Christmas Odyssey, the semi-finals and finals of the European Cup and England's games in the Five Nations. It's all exclusively live here on Sky Sports. Right now though, Rugby Union's world champions have a point to prove to the Northern Hemisphere. In the summer of '97, the British and Irish Lions won a famous victory, but this time it's England who face South Africa. There are lots of people now in the stadium here. We do have a delayed kick-off till 2:15, but it seems like the car parks have emptied and the spectators are in the right position, in their seats, in this famous old stand. What an arena it is, a magnificent cathedral of rugby, and Nick Farr-Jones, Bill Beaumont are still with us in the studio. Stuart Barnes has wandered up to the commentary box. And Nick, in terms of the evolutionary process of England and for Clive Woodward, a win would be perhaps essential for them today, to give them the self-belief.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not a great believer in English management and English players saying that we had a moral victory last week because we kept the All Blacks to 25 points. You know, I'm a believer that you've got to put the runs on the board, and today's really a time for them to deliver. It's going to be hard against South Africa. Look, it's always been a hard assignment, but English people rate this team. They think that perhaps it's a team that could go through to 99 and challenge for the World Cup. If that's the case, well, then they've got to start to put some runs on the board.
I mean, Bill, there was perhaps a bit of misplaced euphoria last week, but I think the management, to be fair to them, said that it was a disappointing performance in terms that they didn't actually win the game. But they've got to take certain steps along the road to eventual, hopefully, a World Cup winning side, as Nick said.
Yeah,
you can't expect it all to happen immediately, can you?
No, that's right, and I think that you sort of put in the building blocks in place that you're hoping in 2 years' time you're going to challenge for the World Cup. Now, I think Roger Utley and Clive Woodward, the first thing they said, that we didn't win the game. What's everybody getting so sort of euphoric about, that we actually lost the game at Old Trafford and really only looked like creating the one try that we got. And so from that point of view, that was disappointing. I think everybody was expecting England to ship 40, 50 points. So there was probably relief amongst the spectators and the management that they were competitive for so long. But what Nick was saying is quite right, that you've got to win your games. That there's nothing breeds confidence like winning. And all of a sudden, if you start losing games, you sow the seeds of self-doubt, and you start to sort of look at your own performances, and you don't have confidence to go out and express yourself because you become very insular. You're frightened of making a mistake. So if you're frightened of making a mistake, you're not positive of what you're trying to do.
Okay, so it's England against the world champions South Africa here. They might have memories of Cape Town and Durban fresh in their minds. Let's hand you over to our commentary team with Stuart Barnes and Miles Harrison.
Well, despite having failed to beat Australia and after defeat against New Zealand, there is a feel-good factor in the England camp. Why? Because there's a perception that things are moving in the right direction. But how the squad would love a win to celebrate that, though, against South Africa is easier said than done. The side chosen to achieve it shows 3 changes in the back line, with Greenstock and Dawson coming in for the injured de Glanville and Bracken, and Bentley is preferred to Adebayo on the wing. In the pack, it's Drewcock for the suspended Johnson, and back starts where he finished last week, with Diprose making way.
Another hard day for the England pack. Take note of the back row. I think it's the quickest English back row I've seen in years. Lawrence Dallaglio is named at number 6, but he could well pack down at 8 when England are attacking. And behind the scrum, everyone expecting a lot from Matthew Dawson, who's having a great battle with Bracken for the England spot. In the centre, Greenstock comes in for de Glanville, and Will Greenwood will probably play inside centre, his favoured position.
When you've just stuck 50 points on France in Paris, there's no need for a long selection meeting, and it's the same again for South Africa, apart from in the back row, where mild concussion for Rassie Erasmus allows Andrew Aitken to start an international for the first time, having come on as a replacement 7 days ago.
And keep your eyes on the Springbok front row. Adrian Garvey, James Dalton, and the Ox himself, Big Os du Randt. That front row will attack England, and they'll be looking to give a platform for a very dynamic back line. Swanepoel is in for Joos van der Westhuizen, but the big change is the inclusion of Dick Muir, the man who masterminded Western Province. He will create space for the tremendous pace of Percy Montgomery, Andre Snyman, and the 4-try hero last week, Peter Rousseau.
Twickenham, the stadium, under the spotlight today. Not just the players who will be assessed. England got such strident support in Manchester, it lifted the men in white. And the challenge for this crowd is to create a special mood of their own.
Yes, I wonder if the Twickenham faithful will be stung, if that's possible. Certainly neither team will be pleased about the delay, but it's filling up now. There's the Rainbow Nation hats, in evidence since '95, and the accession of Nelson Mandela. It promises to be a day of great atmosphere. The Rainbow Nation look pretty confident.
Yes, just 2 years ago, South Africa won the World Cup. They're now with their 4th coach since those heady days, and it's been a stuttering time. A loss at home to New Zealand, that really hurt, followed by a series loss against the Lions in the summer. But they are still the world champions, and Nick Mallett is building a team full of power and panache.
It certainly is a big challenge for England today. They're a South African team who, under Mallett, have found themselves. They're a confident outfit, and they do feel they've got a lot to prove to the British Isles after the Lions series victory on their turf.
And they're looking for a second win in a row at Twickenham. They won here 2 years ago, and there's their captain, Gary Teichmann. And there are some big men and some big names. Teichmann has been the model of consistency. He never let his form drop, even when his side were losing. And like the rest of his squad, reveling in the freedom of expression permitted by Mallett's new regime. South Africa arrive here in red-hot form. So England, once again, know that only their best will suffice.
Now there was Lawrence Dallaglio. He'll be looking to lift this Twickenham crowd. A tremendous performance from the front last week. But let's not forget, England still lost 25-8 this week. They'll be looking to take on Teichmann and his Springboks and get the win.
New Zealand play their second test here next week, but today it's England against the side that the All Blacks fear most, South Africa. Memories for Lawrence Dallaglio, who came on as a replacement to win his first cap against South Africa here at Twickenham 2 years ago.
Well, it was victory for South Africa that day. They're the favourites today. But this is a very determined England team.
First then, the anthems. Sikaleli, followed by De Stem. Dallaglio and his men mean business. Only 8 of the South African side, which played against the Lions in the first test in Cape Town, are on show today. It's a fresh-looking Springbok team. And Neil Back, winning only his 6th cap for England since he made his debut 3 years ago. A meagre total, and he will be looking to prove a point today.
And a big afternoon in store for Mike Catt. He must keep his composure, and when he gets the chances, he must kick his goals.
Our referee is Colin Hawke from New Zealand. He brings back memories of that first test in Cape Town in June. He was the official then and officiates here at Twickenham for this Nike International, which will once again tell us so much about England's relative standing in world rugby. And despite the obvious improvement over the fortnight, England have just 1 try against Australia and New Zealand, whereas South Africa got 11 against France during the same 2-week period. That's the size of the task, and here's Honorball off to Montgomery. And he was given very little time to get the kick away, but Montgomery, who's taken over from the injured Andre Hubert, finds a safe enough touch.
Yes, Percy Montgomery is an outstanding player. Really has come on as a fullback, has great pace and will be a threat. Did well to get that kick away under some pressure.
So it's Cockrell to throw after his belligerent performance at Old Trafford. This time he's throwing to Gareth Archer and Danny Grucock, who's in for Martin Johnson. Well taken by Archer. Dawson back in an England jersey, off to Catt. This is Greenwood going through the middle. Dawson again. Catt. It's meant for Bentley. Putting pressure on Rousseau, but it was Montgomery who bravely came forward from full-back. He was taken out in the air, and that caused the flaring of the tempers, but it also made the mark.
Eyes on the ball there, it's John Bentley storming through. Montgomery rises high, Bentley hits him. Tough stuff. Dominating there from fullback, that's good play, but that's not.
And it was more the collision with Rousseau which caused Montgomery to fall awkwardly. David Rees coming in off the left wing. He swapped wings today with Bentley's inclusion. Dallaglio, no way through there.
Got to play slightly wider against South Africa, they're just too strong in that area.
Richard Hill running into Teichmann. Plenty of ball early on for England. Now it's Rees against James Small. Helped out by Snyman. It's all a question of whether Rees has managed to hang on to it and retain possession. He has. It's good strong play from the winger. Greenwood.
Aggressive tackling early on.
Dallaglio. Wasn't really the option outside, just 2 men, Perry and Bentley, were wide, so Dallaglio took it short. Dawson. And James Small, time to think about it. Ball going forward, the referee will take the knock-off. There's James Small. Much made about his confrontation with John Bentley when playing for Western Province on the Lions tour, but they, initially at least, not lining up against each other.
A lot made of James Small and his edge and attitude, but sometimes it hides the fact he is a very fine rugby player indeed.
Well, there's nobody in South African rugby history who's got more caps than James Small. Here's Dawson. Catt. Archer. Look how strong he is. And England get the foot in. They were going forward and got the ball on the floor.
And here you can see Lawrence Dallaglio picked at 6, but as we thought, packing down at 8. Just does enough to get across that game line. It's not quite quick enough ball for England to really do anything meaningful with.
Now the touch judge has moved in here and the referee wants a word. Let's have a listen.
Green 9 objectively through a punch. Penalised green 9. Yeah, just 3 minutes forward towards their goalpost. Just where Gareth Tyson was standing.
Half back, please.
Colin Hawke.
Something happened, someone drove in, you objected through the punch. Don't retaliate it. Leave it to the touch judge. Thank you. Again, you. Here.
Punch from Swanepoel. Seem to acknowledge it as well. So it's a penalty to England.
Delalio talking to his pack there. Good solid start from them. Gareth Archer to the fore. Now they'll be looking for Mike Catt to find an assured touchline kick and drive the Springboks deep into their 22.
Well, Catt will be looking to show that he's unflappable today, as will England's leader Delalio. Big game for Mike Catt after what happened at Old Trafford. Cockrell there. Delalio beaten at the tail, and it's not often that you see that.
Big line out, and they defend very well against the opposing throwing.
On a ball. Here comes Matt Perry, first chance to counter. There was never any doubt that he was going to catch it, took it beautifully in his stride. Confident young man. Neil back with him. So often the link. This is Catt. Greenwood. So far, though, the South African defence has been solid. That was loose, but South Africa were offside. Interesting opening.
Yeah, quite aggressive play. England switching the options. Don't really look like penetrating at the moment. Henry Honourable in one of the finest tackling fly-halves in the business. Danny Grewcock, he'll be pleased to get a first touch.
So here's Mike Catt. Born in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. So a special day for him. Just a 20% success rate last week. Everybody, well, bar the South African supporters in this crowd, will be wishing Mike Catt well here. He's made a good contact. He's got the 3 points. And there is a spring in his step. And Woodward's pleased with his man.
It's the start England wanted and Mike Catt desperately needed. Far more assertive. But we talked about England picking a fast back row. Richard Hill in the line out at number 8. Just watch how quickly that number 8 closes down Henry Honourable.
Catt. Now, I think that seemed to just hit a stray Springbok finger, but it doesn't matter anyway because it stayed in place. Swanepoel. Montgomery. England 3-0 in front. They started the better of the two sides and they've turned over this as Delalio finds back and through goes Greenwood. Almost. So close. In goes Dalton from an offside position and gives away another penalty. There's James Dalton losing his discipline.
Lively start from England, isn't it? Neil back out wide. Good line there from Greenwood. Crosses that gain line. Doesn't throw a 50-50 pass. And then it's James Dalton who comes in as England recycle and hacks the ball. A stray boot from number 2. It's a penalty to England. Another chance for Catt.
Well, he should be feeling good now. Catt played when England last played South Africa on this ground, but John Callard was the kicker on that day, his Bath colleague. Now it's Catt with this big responsibility. Well, it wobbled in. I thought for a moment it was going wide, but the ball smiled on Catt. maybe it's his day.
England have got the start they didn't get against New Zealand. Plenty of territory, plenty of possession, but no points. This time, they've got 2 chances, and they've taken them both. 6-0, and it's lifted the crowd.
But now South Africa have a chance to get into the game following the knock-on. It's their first scrum. And it's South Africa who have a weight advantage. Not a big one, though.
I think 1 or 2 of them might have beefed up a stone or 2 since we got those weights. Plenty of stakes in South Africa, and there's going to be plenty of pressure coming through from the front row. But the crowd, they're behind England.
Yes, if the barometer is the first sign of swing low, then we've already had one inside 10 minutes. Now, Matt Perry being tested, but again, he's to the manner born.
Yes, a better kick from Honourable, a metre too far, but Perry's never taken his eye off the ball. Good, solid catch.
Also got the cheap ones. And the expensive ones don't worry.
Didn't make good contact there, though, and it's straight down the throat of Andrew Aitken, who offers so much to a fluid style of play.
Tackle only.
But there, he was just intent on securing a scrum for his side.
Well, Lawrence Dallaglio will not be pleased with Matthew Perry, because this attacking scrum has far more opportunities than a line-out.
Swanepoel, the man who's taken over from Van der Westhuizen. They will use Snyman through the middle. He's the heavy club to hit the England midfield, but England given the benefit of that decision. And Snyman, number 13, getting off the ground.
Good solid defence from England there. Working well in defence, and there's a sign of it. 2 turnovers conceded by South Africa. That's good defence on England's part.
Get off, get off!
Cat trying to succeed where Perry failed, but it's Montgomery. Rousseau. Swanepoel opening up here. James Small's come across, it's taken by Honorball, needs to be tackled, was by Cockrell, but not before the ball was laid on to Small, and Small with a chip ahead. Mike Catt won't have a lot of time, but that's a cool pickup, and blistering pace to get away. Oh, what a run from Catt. That was brilliant. David Rees, taken on by Hill, over halfway. Wonderful defence from Mike Catt, and the crowd respond.
You to say defence, I'll say attack there from his own line, but brilliant pickup. Small is closing down on him, and watch this acceleration. The Greyhound out of the trap. Change of pace there, and the field opens up, and the confidence to attack from deep. Excellent play from Mike Catt. Good work there from Rees. Clive Woodward enjoyed that.
You are correct. I need you to sort this out. He can't see. I'll move across, thanks.
James Dalton, the kind of character who will enjoy the
Thank you. Hold there.
baiting from Cockrell.
Hold there.
Archer tried to flick it back, but the men in green driving well. Swanepoel, Honorball. This is Muir, little short pass to Snyman. That was the combination that unlocked the door in Paris last week, time and time again. Muir and Snyman. Honorball with a kick. Perry again, the master of the situation.
Recycled well too by England.
Dawson finds Catt. Rousseau.
That's 3 kicks on the trot that have not found their mark.
Snyman got away from Dallaglio, back. Brought him down in the end, but not before. Good ball was set back. Honorball to Os Durant. Jason Leonard bringing Durant down. both sets of players will have to be fearsome in their tackling today.
But it's very important for England that they start finding their touches when they kick from those defensive situations. South Africa, like New Zealand, have great pace in their back three, and England at the moment are feeding them. And Snyman showing the power as well. He's through Dallaglio, and England will pay if they don't start finding touch when they're looking for it. Another good attacking strong situation. Look at the width and the options either side here.
More cries there from the crowd as the accusations were flying that South Africa lost their binding at that scrum. Referee said no penalty. This is Swanepoel. Honorball out from Muir to Percy Montgomery, hitting the line well, the fullback. But unable to hold on to the ball in the challenge. Cat. And Rousseau forced to cover for Montgomery. And Cat put a lot into that kick. Good length. Here's the tall and rangy Rousseau, given to Greenstock, and Greenstock could go here, and Greenstock will score! Nick Greenstock, in his first England game at Twickenham, the grateful recipient.
Well, if you chase hard enough, things sometimes happen, and they did for Nick Greenstock. It was a clever kick from Mike Cat. South Africa had been on the offence. Percy Montgomery was in, and Cat knew there was no one at home. So he drives it deep because Montgomery's been in the line. And Rousseau, he gets back there, but he's so ambitious to counter-attack. You can see South Africans plodding back slowly. Then he makes a decision, and it's fatal. It's Credo Otto, indecisive and quite simple for Nick Greenstock. And that is exactly what England needed.
Greenstock, who got his break because of injury to Phil de Glanville, and that's how to take a chance in more ways than one. So it's 11-0. An awkward conversion, though, for Cat. Oh, just about to say what a difference a week makes. Stays at 11 then.
It's Credo Otto involved there. He wants to pass to Tysman, he doesn't. The ball pops into nowhere, and Greenstock gobbles that one up.
The call was from Richard Hill. Dawson has made a lively return at scrum half. Greenwood knocked that on. Yes, he did. Just a feeling maybe that he moved forward beyond the ball, but I think it was a knock-on.
That's an unforced error as well from England. It was very good play from Richard Hill, but now that's given South Africa a platform. England's first handing error in 17 minutes. It's been a good professional start.
Thank you.
But you know, that try came from South Africa, looking very dangerous in their backs. This again, look at this again, right in the middle of the field. They can go either way.
Swanepoel quickly out to Muir, Snyman. And Swanepoel again. Durant. Like a big boulder on a roll. Teichmann. And a penalty has been given. It's against Richard Hill.
A chance for South Africa to get back into the game. Gary Teichmann gives the ball to Honorball, who in turn gives it to Percy Montgomery. This is very positive play. England last week were the side who I felt didn't take the points on offer, and now South Africa have a chance. It's ambitious play.
Well, the Springboks are on a roll. They've scored 20 tries in the test matches on this tour against France, 2 occasions in Italy. And they're certainly looking for tries here as Durant goes in. Andrews was with him. Dalton's there now, the hooker, all the way back to Swanepoel. Teichmann, oh, the communication wrong there. But England had gone offside.
Yeah, Danny Grukop.
Where's number 4? Don't think about it. Punching.
Well, he's got a yellow card, so it's more than offside, I think.
Now this is going to be difficult for England. The bulldozer is about to rumble into life.
Teichmann at the back, the captain and number 8. Fenter's in there, just a metre short. Swanepoel to Muir. Mike Catt digs in, but Dick Muir almost rolled himself over there. And in the end, South Africa have to settle for a 5-metre scrummage.
Well, South Africa, having spurned the decision to take the 3 points, must score now. Here we can see the penalty. There's the punch. Danny Grukop on James Dalton, no doubt about that.
Pushing hard here.
Get in!
Teichmann picks the moment, goes to Swanepoel. In goes Rees quickly on Small.
Well, that's excellent defence from England. David Rees do well against Lomu, and he's very aggressive on James Small. The pass was floated, it gave him an alluring target, and Rees took it. Good aggressive defence. England have done well to get out of this situation.
Hold on!
We've passed the midway point in this first half, and England leading by 11 points to 0. 2 Mike Catt penalties and a Nick Greenstock try.
Well, we said before in the studio that the England players would need to lift the crowd by starting well, and they've certainly done that. South Africa just starting to get some ball and force their way into the game. But that was a key moment for England to hold out in the 22.
Dalton with the line-out cut goes to Andrews. Swanepoel on a ball. Muir. Tricky customer, Dick Muir. Andrews tries again to batter England into submission. On a ball. Muir, men out wide this time. Teichmann on to Fenter. Look at big Andre Fenter. And James Dalton. Did he get it down? No. The flag is up. And the 22 dropout has been given.
Well, Dalton going for the line. Catt with the throw. Hit the touch flag. I think he hit the corner flag. In which case, it's not a try, it was a marginal decision.
Well, a split-second decision made by the touch judge on that far side, Paul Honnis, and a vital one as well.
It's going pretty good, just a wee bit of feel, so I rely on you two guys. Keep it pretty cool, okay? Yeah, just have a
lecture here from the referee.
Okay? Your scrum.
I think he's fairly happy so far, just 1 or 2 indiscretions.
Joint finger out there, Mark Andrews. Just trying to sort out, looks like contact lenses.
Just keep it tidy, guys.
A big man with impaired vision.
Well, he's not putting makeup on, I can tell you that. It is contact lenses.
He's a guy who's returned to form, Mark Andrews, one of the best line-up forward, best blocks in the world. But this was a close moment. Catt does very well to get across. It is a very close decision, but I think the touch judge is right.
And it was a swift decision. He was adamant, and you've got to go with the official when he acts so quickly. That was good to see.
Well, he was in a great situation, wasn't he? He was in a position to see that more clearly than anyone in the stadium. Nick Mallett might not like it, but he won't question it. He will question the start from the Springboks row.
Here's the mark right here. Green scrum, holding.
The players have enjoyed Mallett's approach.
No. What's it here? Stand back.
Like likes to consult his players, treat them as adults.
Hold, crouch. Yep, crouch. Okay, righto. Get it in.
It's a long period of pressure, though, for South Africa. Nothing to show for it so far. Maybe Hannibal can change that. Muir.
So much revolving through Muir and Hannibal in midfield. It's varying their angles.
There's Swanepoel. He finds Richard Hill in strong form. And penalty to England. Obstruction.
Yeah, I think it's James Dalton.
Yep.
There's Dalton, number 2. He runs the line, and that's what it's given for. Not so certain about that decision. He meandered into space, didn't he?
And Cat making sure of his touch because England will throw to the line out. Now down on the touchline, Dowie Morris is watching all of this. Let's get his early thoughts.
Well, thanks very much, Miles. Yes, so talking to the referee, official down here, if you touch the touch flag simultaneous when the ball goes down, there was no try. Absolutely correct.
Yes, no try, and England thankful for that.
Nice to have Dowie in agreement as well. Good solid line out there from England.
Last.
Dawson, Cat, Greenwood the dummy, went to Greenstock.
Here it is.
Dawson, Cat, here's Greenwood again.
Some strong tackling from both sides at the moment.
And the spoiling there was from Fenta. But a knock on. And no advantage to South Africa. Well, there's John Bentley, winning his 4th England cap.
Here's your mark. Hold, hey, back off. You're on the mark.
Bentley really hasn't had much opportunity yet. But it has been a disciplined performance. That's the first turnover in 25 minutes plus of play. Very efficient and tight. And you know, you just feel maybe they needed that sort of lucky try just to fuel them up and add to the confidence. Now they've got it. They've got a good lead after 26 minutes, 11-0.
Push back. Get back.
That's the halfway line. Hannibal behind Muir, just had to check, and the move lost its momentum because of that. Referee plays advantage England's way this time. In comes Darren Garforth, neat little pass from the prop, and there's try scorer Greenstock.
Good support work from Brewcock as well. The forwards in quickly.
Cat, now Bentley's off his wing, Alas Small. Dawson. Cat coming short side. He's made a fizzing start as Mike Cat. Dawson's tied up. So no scrum half. Delalio goes and he's slammed on the ground by Durant. But South Africa offside again. And England will get a further chance to stretch their lead. But Paddy O'Brien is now in, the touch judge, to have a word with Colin Hawke.
Yes.
Being the match, just against 5, literally first, opposite me, against number 5 white.
Where I am?
Okay, yeah.
You're number 5, thanks. Number 5.
That's Gareth Archer.
It's going to be
This is
an
fairly clever
important
because you had
turnaround.
the penalty for a green offside. You've been spotted punching.
Call me down.
Hey, but leave it to me, or the touch judge. Don't retaliate.
So the decision is reversed, and Archer knows how costly that could be.
A successful penalty there could have taken England to a 14-point lead, which is it's quite a big margin, isn't it? But instead, it's South Africa back on the attack.
White. Get him across, thanks. Across.
We're only saying last week how Gareth Archer has managed to keep a lid on his once famous short fuse. He's a more disciplined player these days, but that was a lapse from him. Andrew Aitken at pace.
That was a great line from the flanker.
Muir Fenter will chase, but it was Bentley's all the way.
Good defence, forcing Dick Muir to kick, and Bentley happy to take the mark.
I think the politicians would say Bentley has more substance than style. But he's pumped up, and so are the crowd, as Mike Catt continues to impress.
Boomed that one down the touchline. Things going his way. Didn't quite find touch. But when the gods are smiling on you, just watch this bounce. A long raking kick. Thank you very much. Right angles into touch. The first half hour Mike Catt needed, and England.
Hold in there, thanks, White.
And before the match, few were predicting that South Africa wouldn't be on the board as we approach the half-hour mark. Now, Dick Muir is off the field at the moment, receiving treatment. He wants to get back on, but he can't.
Come on! I see it!
So South Africa a man down in midfield. Aikens fanned out to help out. It's Bentley versus Rousseau, and it was Rousseau with a good catch. Honeyball. Back couldn't make the tackle as Small evaded him.
And then gave it away.
But it doesn't take long before the white shirts are there in numbers. Great support play. Cottrell bouncing off Honeyball. Dawson, Catt, Dallaglio. This is good from England. Bentley, lot to do on his own, but he's so strong, and he finds Perry. Garforth arrives. England rampant here until they lose the ball at the crucial moment. Stays alive though. Catt. Now it's gone dead.
Brilliant stuff from England there, though. And there you go, Tarzan playing for England. Gareth Archer giving his all for the country. I think he might have to change his shirt. But Dallaglio leading from the front again. Manufactures that pass after a blistering tackle. And Bentley, he's so strong. He stays up long enough to keep that attack alive. Backs and forwards working together.
Gleaming white top for Archer and a bright red face for Andre Fenter.
Thank you.
So that brings on Bobby Skinstad. There's too much blood there, it needs repair. So Skinstad's on to make his debut for South Africa.
And he is a very exciting player. In Western Province, they think Skinstad is going to become a Springbok great pace.
Well, he's only 21. He's captain the England under-21 side, South Africa under-21 side. And I remember in Hong Kong, in the Sevens tournament, he was everywhere. And South Africa reached the final. Good take from Andrews.
They need Andrews in this forward effort to start to roll because 11-0 down. They need something before half-time, but this is a good, powerful roll.
Swanepoel rummaging for the ball.
It's too static there, Durant, and he's gone backwards.
On a ball. Straight to Perry. And no risk this time from Matt Perry. But remember, last time he made the mark, he failed to find touch. This a little closer to the touchline, but he's not going to take it on. He's giving it to Catt. And when Mike Catt's in this form, he's the right man to give it to.
He is hitting the ball quite beautifully at the moment. Very different figure from the guy with the drooping shoulders at Old Trafford. And
the crowd certainly showing more warmth and giving a burning intensity to this England performance in the first half. Old Trafford may have had an effect on English rugby in more ways than one. It's so important for Clive Woodward's team to go on a stage further from that brave but defeating performance against New Zealand last week.
Good first line tackling again from England.
Teichmann. He knows his team are in a real battle today, but there's Aitken. Good work by Garvey on the floor. Got down bravely and quickly. Honourable, taken by back. Rousseau.
Being forced to kick again, England will be happy with that.
Greenstock. That was alert play from Greenstock. And the referee's gone back for the not forward.
Tim Perry was under a bit of pressure there, though. That's the try scorer, Nick Greenstock. Teichmann, for once, crossing that gain line, finding a hole. It's Neil Back who comes in to stop him dead. Aitken in support. He's starting to get involved more, and that's important for South Africa.
Back off. Back off. Here we are.
Gary Teichmann equaling the record for consecutive test matches for his country today. It's 25 in a row now. 26 overall. James Small.
Great kick from Cat, and an equally great catch from Small.
Swanepoel of Free State. On a ball. Now, will it sit up to Perry? It does. Tries to get away from Muir. Dalton won't let him out of his sights. Dawson. That was good play. He was cool there, Matt Dawson.
He had to wriggle those hard yards to get his forwards a chance to keep the ball.
It's awkward for Perry. England penalty. Hands on the floor.
Well, this was important. England were going backwards, and Dawson had to make 5 metres. Makes just enough ground and stays on his feet long enough for England to recycle the ball. Because they were under pressure there. And this didn't help either. There's the turnover, but there were hands in there. Pressure relieved again.
Andre Fenter's waiting to get back on. Here he comes. We hear that he's received 4 stitches to that wound.
So Skinstad's international career starts, but it's a brief one. Look at the moment, South Africa need the experience of men like Fenter.
Got a fine record at Twickenham, South Africa. Won 5 and lost 2. Neil Back.
Back wins a line-out. Things going England's way.
This is South Africa scrum now as the ball went forward.
Richard Cockrell will be disappointed with that. Large part of England's first 35 minutes has been based around good basic set-piece work.
Little show to Muir, but it's James Small coming in, and Neil Back was there with the tackle.
The pace from Small.
Swanepoel, short to Muir. And that could well be an offside. In fact, the referee's given a forward pass.
South Africa at the moment, they're just not coming from deep enough, and the English tackling is rocking them backwards.
Sorry, that was me. I thought we were ready.
Good organised first half from the English team.
Stay crouch. Engage. Stay on the back row.
He's only just dragged back into that scrum. South Africa may well have had a case there for the ball coming out. Archer, the man with no number. Cat, Back. There's Neil Back showing his all-round footballing skill with the kick ahead. Montgomery's first thought is to run it out, and now it's Rousseau. And that's a good kick from Rousseau. Forcing Perry to play it. Teichmann. Swanepoel was convinced the ball was going out. But England up offside, and that's a penalty.
Number 6
Lawrence Dallaglio, the man pinned for that one. And a scrum back deep in England territory.
Well, that's the other option from where the ball was kicked.
Yes, because it was a tight angle to kick for touch in the line-out. This is a much better attacking platform for South Africa. That's crucial for England to hold out till half-time here. A score for South Africa would lift them as they go into the interval.
Inside this final minute then of this first half. Hannibal, Muir, Teichmann. Aitken. They've had their fair share of pressure in this half, South Africa, but no points so far. Snyman almost through though. And Andrews took it on. Swanepoel. Hannibal. It's all very tight over there, but Aitken. And now Otto. Can England hold out again? It's there for South Africa. They try and dive over the top. Montgomery is in there, as is Muir. Two of the backs helping out the forwards. Taken on by Garvey. What a strong run from Garvey, and the try's been given. South Africa get that score just before half-time, and Adrian Garvey, well, they call Os du Randt the Ox, but it was Garvey there who had the almighty strength to push his way over.
That was a very powerful little surge. England seemed to have it covered. There he goes, Neil Back can't stop him. Greenwood, Hill and Dallaglio. Now that is a hard yard. It's a double blow for England, a score for South Africa, and a very groggy looking Mike Catt there.
Yes, Mike Catt hurt. He's a brave defender, of course.
They really do need Catt on. He's had a very good first 40 minutes. And if he is to go off and Paul Grayson come on, it takes a lot of their attacking options away. But at the moment, the bigger concern is just Catt's well-being.
Well, the England doctor, Terry Crystal, is right out there. Immediate medical help on hand here at Twickenham, of course. Very best medical facilities. Both out on the pitch and underneath the stand here. Kevin Murphy also there, the physio.
So rather subdued the mood.
Yes, instantly the players recognise a serious injury which needs urgent attention, and I think the crowd do as well. They've responded with a respectful silence.
Came on that challenge on Henry Hannibal. Here you can see it, another angle. Catt goes in. It's quite hard to tell.
Well, it's important here that the medics don't rush the situation. Okay, rugby matches are important, but they're not that important. And the crowd on their feet, appreciative of Mike Catt's efforts in this first half. So our thoughts and wishes with Mike Catt. with the conversion, flags are up, and the referee blows his whistle for the end of an exhilarating half, and South Africa right back into the match with that try from Garvey and Honobal's conversion. 11-7, England lead.
Well, England have taken their chances. Nick Greenstock had a gilt-edged chance, it put them clear, but what a shame that South Africa got that late score.
Yes, it was 11-0, and then Garvey blasting his way through, and with Honobal's kick, as I say, 11-7, and beautifully set up for the second half. And it's away from Paul Grayson, who's come on for Mike Catt to play in this second half, so at least Grayson will be alongside his club partner, Matt Dawson.
I just wonder how much cutting edge England will lose, though. Good striker of the ball, Paul Grayson, but doesn't have Catt's armoury as a running fly half.
Andrew. Just wonder how much that try just before half-time will change the ultimate course of the game.
Well, psychologically, it will have lifted South Africa. It will have just raised a question mark in the England team.
But South Africa unable to do anything with that.
South Africa starting in the England territory. You see, Paul Grayson has come on. It could well be a rearguard effort.
Grayson's 10th cap. In his previous 9 matches, he's scored 133 points for England.
Here it is.
So in the kicking at goal department, Grayson has been there and done it. Just a question of whether he can release the backs.
The creativity stakes, exactly.
Off the scrum, yeah, off the scrum. That's it.
It's Greenwood going up and getting there. Well played, the centre. Dawson. Now here's Grayson, a little bit isolated there. Back, driven back by Osdurant, but crucially holding onto the ball until Cockrell supported.
Last me.
Grayson. Taken by Rousseau. James Small.
South Africa will be happy to see ball kicked to them. James Small is strong, he'll stand up in the tackle, and now they've got good ball.
Swanepoel slicing that one. Asking a lot of his forwards there, who had to stop in their tracks, and the error was made as a consequence of the poor kick.
As the second half go, it's a pretty messy start. Lots of errors. Dick Muir there, not quite able to get his hands on the ball, and that's the knock-on. And I think England will want to drive South Africa quite deep here.
Greenwood again used as the artful player in midfield. There's no way past Dick Muir there for Matt Dawson, but South Africa going over the top, failing to stay on their feet.
Well, another penalty against South Africa, just undermining them. Grayson finds a solid, safe touch.
Here's Dowie Morris again. Dowie.
Thanks very much, Miles. Yes, Mike Catt has been confirmed. He's a bit groggy. He's got a bad concussion. We're talking to John Mitchell. John Mitchell held the team talk. It wasn't Clive Woodward. And basically he said, you've gone back into your shell, take the game to South Africa. Nick Mallett, the South African coach, basically said, cut out all the mistakes and then there'll be no problem.
Well, let's see if England come out of their shells again now with Jackson Leonard. Dawson did what he had to do there, and that was get the ball away. Hacked on by Greenwood, straight to Montgomery.
Yes, we are.
Percy Montgomery had half a mind to counter-attack. Instead, he fires an absolute beauty down the touchline.
He's put on the muscle to an angular frame, Montgomery. Added value.
He's a very fast man. England have done well. They haven't given him any space at all this afternoon.
Here we are.
It's just a question of whether they can withstand the physical assault from South Africa. Because if they start missing first-up tackles, then these wide runners will come into their own. But at the moment, England hold him firm.
Not straight. Richard Cockrell
There's a fair bit of
just letting that one go astray.
bit of bantering going on, so just leave
And with a hard edge
holding
to his
no more, no more.
impudent style.
Well, there you can see South Africa again on the offensive. It just shows how well England took their chances. Just 4% in South Africa's 22, 19% South Africa in England's. It's physical domination, and it's a mark of how well the men in white have defended. But that's tough. It takes a toll.
Swanepoel. He's overcooked that one. So the errors keep on coming.
Well, James Small, tap on the head, relax. Just a sign of inexperience. One bad kick already this half, and that's very loose from Werner Swanepoel. The Free State man will be very disappointed with that. That's just giving ball away. Got to get his head up.
At times in this match, the Springboks have been their own worst enemy.
Yeah, well, Nick Mallett made the point about unforced errors. To be fair, England have caused a lot of them with their aggressive defence, but South Africa are making too many.
Here comes Greenstock, fixed across that gain line. Dawson. Little show of the ball from Grayson. There's Archer.
Archer's playing like a fourth back row forward. Excellent game again.
Grayson had to stretch and knocked on.
It's a pity, it was good ball for England there. But Greenstock, he does attack the inside shoulder of a fly half well. There you can see he cuts back against the drift. He gets through Honeyball, and that's quick ball for England. Grayson driven back by Honeyball, and there's Archer playing yet another big game. 3 on the trot.
Here it is. Right, back up. Crouch, hold, engage.
Swanepoel. Muir. Half break, but again there's very little chance for the centre runners to burst through. The tackling from both sides, top quality. Honeyball. Cross comes Perry. Tight angle for the fullback.
Good kick from Honeyball. Drives England back into their 22. Dallaglio on the back foot again. And there you can see a lot of tackles made. And England just 3 missed tackles. That's an excellent effort.
Well, South Africa had their problems against the Lions, of course. And also in the Tri-Nations tournament, things didn't go their way. But on the current tour, under a new coach, Nick Mallett, they have looked the part. Benny Grewcock of Saracens playing today because of the suspension to Martin Johnson. It's from the Barker's Butts Club in the West Midlands, the product of a factory line.
It's a long way from Barker's Butts to Twickenham. West Midlands, did you say?
Well, Neil Back came out of that club as well, as many have before. Penalty, South Africa. And the touch judge has stepped in.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Driving in under the jump while he's still in the air. It's dangerous.
And that's just a warning for taking the jumper out in the air.
Option.
Hannibal will look to take 3 points in South Africa within 1. You can see now, Otto rises, and underneath him goes Gareth Archer. That's the penalty. Dangerous play, and there's too much of it in the game. It's creeping in. It's a way of stopping that forward drive coming on. You take them out early, they can't get the catch and drive, which South Africa are so good at, but it is illegal and it is dangerous.
Marvellous kicking form last week from Hannibal. 7 conversions against France at the Parc des Princes. Now he has this kick to bring South Africa within a point. And that was woeful.
Shades of cat at Old Trafford there from Henry Hannibal. Snatched at that. And that will add further resolve to England's defensive effort.
He's not had a good day, has he, the South African fly half?
No, he's been harried by the England back row and it's affected his game. Great catch from Mark Andrews there. Imperious.
There's Garvey. We know all about his force. He got that try just before the half-time whistle. It stays at England 11, South Africa 7.
England are stopping him getting quick ball, so they're trying to drive straight through the heart of him.
But they've still got the ball, South Africa, and Garvey goes again.
Yeah, Osdurant might be the ox, but in this form, Garvey's the rhino.
Swanepoel. On a ball. In the midfield, strong. Greenstock tried to get a foot in, so did Bentley, and then Montgomery almost away. Just for a second there, it could have gone either way. With England prepared to hack on upfield and chase, as the bounce of the ball beat England, it nearly fell for Montgomery.
But it's the aggression of that defending again. Peel and back in there, South Africa again getting driven backwards. Scrum going down there, the weight coming on. England have done very well in that department again. It's been very solid indeed.
Dawson, Perry, Small, confronted by Rees and Greenstock.
That's it. Hey, last.
Swanepoel, Snyman, and Snyman is through. That was great awareness from the centre. He takes on Perry for pace, and Snyman is there. Magnificent individual try from Andre Snyman, and South Africa have the lead.
That was brilliant. He's been an international wing because he's got that change of pace. And watch this. Nothing's on, it's static. Huge dummy. Jason Leonard can't hold him. And watch him turn Perry in and out, and then it's a change of pace. Perry gets back for the tackle. Is it a double movement? I think he rolls over with the momentum of his body. Superb play from Andre Snyman. Just buying in time. Perry gets back. It's a good tackle there. That's a try.
Yes, momentum clearly took him over. Hannibal with the conversion, and South Africa up to 14, 3 points in front. Now this man has got blistering pace. Carl du Plessis, the former Springbok coach, played him on the wing. But because of his strength, allied with his speed, Snyman lends himself to a centre as well, and that was beautiful to watch.
Magnificent play. And it's lifted South Africa They've got territorial domination, and for the first time in the match, they now have a points advantage. Now England must strike back quickly, because otherwise the confidence that flooded through the South African team in Paris will come back.
England about to make a change in the back row. There's Chris Sheesby.
Well, there are many people who think Sheesby, with his dynamic brand of rugby, is a 40-minute player. And they'll be looking for a big half hour now from him.
Perry. There's a test of England's character. A young, inexperienced side. We're in front 11-0. Muir. Newfound confidence in the South African back division. Muir, oh, brilliant! Rousseau stepping his way through. Just couldn't get it off to Honeyball. But South Africa keep it alive. Swanepoel.
The warning signs are out now.
Durant. Another wave of attacking from the Springboks. Now Muir and Snyman are tied up in that. But there are plenty of forwards hanging out wide, joining the back division. There's Muir. Swanepoel. Here it comes to Rousseau. Andrews is with him. 5, 3 and 2 there. Lock, Prop and Hooker all waiting to play their part. Swanepoel. England on the rack here.
Decisive tackle from Dawson there. That was important.
England have got to try and hang on in there, but it's on to James Small. Peter Rousseau. Andrews. No try. Yes. It's been given. After a consultation with the touch judge, Mark Andrews is awarded the try.
Suddenly the afterburners have been applied. The South Africans love it. Total rugby here. What a superb run from Andre Fenter. James Small, good footballing skill. And Rousseau, he holds up. Andrews on hand. He rolls over. Cleverly done. That's intelligent play, and that's a try. But Fenter, it's static ball. He spots that, finds a point of weakness, and just look at the handling skills. One wing, right wing, then the left wing. He just covers himself and over.
Honeyball's conversion. Well, that drifts wide, and because of that, England stay in touch, but they have been pushed right onto the back foot by this South African surge. 19-11 South Africa lead, and again more good refereeing from Colin Hall. Just waited for a second or two, had a word with Paul Honnis. Honnis said yes, a try was scored. And South Africa getting everything to go their way now. Sheesby's on.
Richard Hill has gone off now. I would imagine that will mean Sheesby moving to number 8, Delalio back to 6. But at the moment the only movement is backwards for England. Lovely strike from Montgomery. The forwards need a big performance now. They've got to stop these South Africans getting this ball wide.
Andrews, who made his debut against England. England's tour to South Africa in '94. Since then, he's been a tower of strength in the middle of the South African line-out, although of course he famously played at number 8 in the World Cup final. Sheesby thought he got England away there. But another penalty.
Touch judging as well. England will be hoping that it's turned their way.
Yeah. Okay, it was your ball. Go and jump over the guy. He's defenceless. It's again you.
But South Africa not going for the points. Well, initially at least.
I think they are going for the point. There's Sheesby. Stole the ball well. And over the top goes Archer. Not in control. And a penalty. And it's significant that Montgomery used his left foot to push them to the corner. I would not be surprised to see the catch and drive.
Yes, it will be all too easy to go for the kick at goal. Not for this South African side. They've got the taste now for crossing that England line. But England showing great resolve.
They've worked hard on that catch and drive, haven't they? They knew it was coming and they got low body positions and drove South Africa backwards before they could put that pressure on. Good work from the England pack. And they must be solid at this scrum now.
Dawson. Small caught by Rees. Teichmann got it off to Montgomery, and there's Greenstock again. He's already got one breakaway try. That was asking far too much to go from there, but still England have it with Dallaglio. Sheesby. Dawson. And now the crowd right behind England. Grayson. Back. It's Lawrence Dallaglio. Greenstock. Little juggle. Dalton in. Not offside, said the referee.
Play was loose. It was a good decision from the referee.
And look at South Africa going from their own line. Snyman hands off Bentley, but the referee has hauled them back this time for a forward pass.
Tremendous stuff. Andre Snyman, such a danger. Great line here from Dallaglio off back. Brilliant play by the England back row forwards. And a good line from Greenstock. That's lifted the Twickenham crowd. And now England really must score from this situation. 8 points behind. They've got time, but they need points from here.
Inside the final quarter. And you're right, Stuart, England have got to get something now.
Crowd doing their best to lift them. Mark Andrews down at the moment. But it's a big blindside here. I can't see England being able to push South Africa over.
Mark Andrews takes a break. He's a prodigious performer, Lawrence Dallaglio. And Woodward will want all of Dallaglio's leadership skills to shine through here. Sheesby keeps it tight. Swanepoel on Sheesby. Aitken goes in. England need to hold on to this ball, and they have. Dawson. Leonard's there, slowed down. But Dawson's back at scrum half.
They've got to stay on their feet and try and change the point of attack. It's all too slow.
And it's come squirting out on the South African side. Honorball again running from deep. And Montgomery gets it off to Muir. And Rousseau could scorch the earth, this winger. And Greenstock got across to make a telling challenge. Archer back, so was Grayson. Perry off to Rees, and England give it a blast through the middle. Still David Rees.
Stopped by Otto, big hit.
Dawson, Grayson. Greenstock wants the ball. He's got his wish. Back. and the referee adjusts another forward pass there.
But what confidence from South Africa. And look at the hands from Andre Snyman there. Montgomery held by Delalio, and now Rosso has got pace, but Greenstruck does very well to get across to him. Good play from England there.
But it was a missed opportunity, just short of that South Africa line.
Yes, just a lack of confidence there. Here comes another fresh pair of legs, Austin Healey.
Well, he's come on the last 2 weeks, Austin Healey, as a replacement on the wing. And it will be John Bentley to come off. Described this England appearance at Twickenham as the final piece in the career jigsaw. Such a popular figure on the Lions tour of South Africa in the summer. And there's another man who went on that tour, Healey. Went there as a scrum half. He's now predominantly seen as a winger. And he's straight into action. Perry. Oh, well, there's the confidence of youth. Grayson came off Muir. Aitken.
Aitken's had a good game.
England over the top.
Well, we've wondered what Matt Perry was doing there. Stepping one way, then the other. Did very well to extricate himself, though. England need to keep the ball alive. And again, Henry Honourable not going for goal, but they're going for the corner.
Well, it's refreshing to see.
Yes, they're a confident team, aren't they? And that's coming through now. Just wonder whether they'll go for the catch and drive again, or whether they'll actually use their pacey backs, try something different in the midfield.
Dalton to Otto, long pass from Swanepoel, picks out Honorball, and he's taken by Neil Back. But there's Oz Durant. England simply can't afford to concede another try.
And the knock-on helps their cause there. South Africa did try and move it in the middle, but Neil Back very firm on Henry Honourable. He's given him a torrid time this afternoon, and that really helped keep England within 8 points.
Stand up, back up, fight back away, push back.
He's done very well, Neil Back.
He lives a hectic life on the field, doesn't he? Always first to arrive at the office, Neil Back. And Grayson.
Good solid strike from Grayson. But South Africa won't mind one bit. They have control of the line-out, and in the line-out, things have gone very well for them this afternoon. There's Grayson's balance game. And the line-out, Mark Andrews and friends starting to reign.
Dalton to Andrews, Swanepoel, Carnival, Dick Muir. Advantage played, and I think the referee might bring them back now.
Would be a strange advantage if he didn't. Another superb tackle by Neil Back, you know, on Dick Muir. Good attacking stuff. Honourable shows the ball, little pop, back, dislodges the ball.
Another substitution made. Simon Shaw of Wasps has replaced Danny Grovecock.
Well, Grovecock will have learned at the hands of a master this afternoon in Mark Andrews.
It is important to remember that England are learning all the time. It's a new team, but it's also a new team representing South Africa. Plenty of fresh faces, and that man Nick Mallett is moulding an effective unit here.
They're being given a big battle from England. It's another spirited performance. But the quality of line-out ball from South Africa has been exceptional. 10 from 12, and Andrews very much the dominant figure there. England have been pressurised in their line-out.
Miss Martin Johnson. Grayson. Greenstock. Greenwood. Healy. Perry. All a bit lateral.
South Africa very robust in defence. Now they must generate something.
Dawson. Cockrell. And we know where he's going. Straight into the thick of it. Dawson again. Grayson. Simon Shaw didn't take the ball with him. Gave it to Muir. Now it's James Small. And Peter Rousseau will look for the bounce, and Dallaglio across to give him a little push.
Well, I can only assume that the ball was out.
No, penalty's been given. My first reaction was it was a penalty. We'll get a closer look now.
There's no doubt at all that's a professional foul from Dallaglio, and I suppose he could be lucky not to get a yellow card for that.
He did his best to look innocent.
Not good enough in that one. You can't take a man out a metre from a touch judge and get away with it. Although Lawrence probably claims it was so body checked him. Whatever, it's a very good line-out position for South Africa again.
And inside the final 10 minutes, Otto.
He's the granite in their front five for now, Otto.
It's been a solid base for South Africa. That Honourable Muir, little pop passes to Teichmann.
England's midfield defension around the base of the scrum and centre has been excellent again today.
Here's penalty.
Get out of it. You roll out of it, thanks.
And that was Neil Back, singled out by the referee. And this time, South Africa are going for the kick at goal. I can't blame them for that.
No, that will take 22-11. You can see England conceded 10 penalties to South Africa's 7. That's a mark of the pressure that has been brought to bear by the South African pack.
Garvey, Andrews and Stamen with tries for South Africa this afternoon. But this 3 points from the boot of Honorball will just about put them out of sight. England won't give it up. But it's England 11, South Africa 22. And it's got to be an immediate riposte from England.
Yes, the try's needed now. Must hang this kick high and give his forwards a chance, and he's done that.
It was right on the tender line from Grayson.
Third belonged to Mark Andrews.
As it so often does. Perry, Rees, little shimmy, but Teichmann didn't make it. Dawn. Grayson. Greenwood doing well, that ball off to Back. And Grayson conceding possession to Percy Montgomery, who can hurt from full back. Oh, fantastic play from Montgomery, taken on by Fenter, and Fenter powering away. Didn't need support, and the ball forward. Andre Fenter.
Well, that's try gone begging. But Paul Grayson, what are you doing? You can't kick ball to Percy Montgomery like that. Pace and power. And look at that support from Fenter. Brilliant play, but he should have given the pass. Small was waiting, but the tackle came in. That's one that got away.
Dawson.
Take a line, boys.
Looking there, isn't he? England been under the cosh through most of this second half. They had one chance and they couldn't really conjure anything, and that's the problem for Clive Woodward. There is still a lack of real creativity about this England team. They've been honest, they've been worthy. South Africa, who have looked the more dangerous side.
And it's South Africa ending this half where they've spent the majority of it inside England territory.
Total control from the front five at the moment.
Thank you.
Swanepoel. He goes round on the loop and finds Rousseau. Montgomery, referees pulled them back. Small will be denied his moment of glory. England have been given a penalty. Someone was taken out in midfield there.
Well, neutrals might well say that's a pity because that was sublime handling from South Africa. It's Dick Muir you see there at inside centre. Whether he really is obstructing, I'm not certain. Great line from Montgomery and a superb pass to Small, but Dick Muir was the man penalised. But you know, in international rugby, it's done just about by every team all the time. I think that's a harsh call.
Yeah, that was a tough call. Problem from Muir's point of view, it happened straight in front of the referee.
Yeah, but you watch England play, they do exactly the same. They send men in front and the ball behind. But that also just highlighted the point about South Africa's extra creativity and cutting edge.
Well, if it stays like this, the margin of 11, it will be South Africa's biggest ever win at Twickenham. And their second in a row. Greenstock, Perry lost it, Dawson didn't. More honest endeavour from England, but can they find a way through?
Well, it's a good scrummage situation, but you just wonder who really has the key to unlock the South African defence. They haven't really created many chances.
Dawson tries again. Sheesby. Just denied in getting the ball away. Archer, Perry, Dawson. Good pick up Grayson. Greenwood. But like New Zealand last week, the Southern Hemisphere defence reigning supreme.
Protecting their line well there. England were again forced across the field. It was a lovely pick-up from Grayson, but no one's coming from wide and they're not coming from deep enough, and it's enabling the Springbok defence to drift them across. It's a big pitch. Men like Dallaglio and back have covered every blade, but it hasn't been enough.
And they will be here again next week to take on New Zealand in the second test. Doesn't get any easier. Free kick, Swanepoel. There goes Aitken. Just like Venter. Great pace, the flanker.
And this is a great attacking situation.
Honourable, Andrews.
Credit to England's defence. They have tackled and tackled.
Honourable. Venter. And South Africa hunting for their fourth try. Montgomery. James Small. Chance here. He's got support from Swanepoel. And he's going to dance his way through. It's all over now.
You can't deny it for South Africa. The extra class belongs to them, and they've created another lovely score. Werner Swanepoel scores it, but it was tremendous work from his wide men again. Rousseau and Small, such good footballers in confined spaces.
Well, his first try for South Africa at Twickenham. So a moment to remember for forever and a day for Werner Swanepoel.
And that's wonderful play from Montgomery. Hands inside from Small. And there goes Swanepoel. But it was that pace of Percy Montgomery, you know, the man taking this kick, that brought the meter and put them in space. He is a tremendous prospect.
And he tries to draw this one round and succeeds. England 11, South Africa 29. And it's turned into a comprehensive win. Who's your man of the match?
Well, he's probably going to be underneath this kick-off. He's been everywhere else. Mark Andrews has had a wonderful game. Superlative. Look at that.
Little help from Durant. Doesn't need that much help, though, Andrews.
Well, 11:29 doesn't flatter South Africa. There's a lot of class, there's a lot of power. And there's Cockrell and Dalton for one last time. Kisses, it's good to see.
Teichmann, Swanepoel. They still think they've got another try in the locker here.
Well, you've got to say, England have been flattered in this half. From the moment the South Africans finally crossed for the try, it's been one way all half. They're a good team, but England are not that far off the drawing board yet. Wonderful scenes.
Grayson kicking for position to give England one last chance. And can they finish on a high?
Well, it would be good to see them create something, wouldn't it, in the midfield. But you know, the forwards have been worthy, but the ball hasn't been quick enough. They're not changing the point of attack with enough rapidity, and they're really not running into space.
Well, that's the worry, isn't it? Just one try against New Zealand. Greenstock's effort today, nothing against Australia. Shaw. England put in.
You see, again, they're driving infield off the forwards, but it's a little bit predictable. In fact, it's a little bit like South Africa in the summer. You don't score tries against New Zealand and South Africa by running at men in shirts. You've got to find space.
Sheesby. Supported by Shaw and Delalio in there. It was coming back to Dawson, but then a hand got in the way. The South African hand. And Delalio puts it into touch.
So it's the catch and drive from the line-up. The first instinct is to go back to the set piece. Everything they're trying to do is coming from there.
Well, the crowd have tried to play their part today. And they lift England here for one last effort. Ball going forward. But it's been South Africa's day.
Well, in large part, England have been efficient. The line-out hasn't gone well today. Richard Cockrell hasn't enjoyed himself quite so much against this powerhouse South African tight five. It's affected his throw-in.
Yes, you're quite right. You know why? Here it is here. Hey, you! Hold on.
And Garford warned there to keep up the scrum. He didn't.
Get out. Crossing.
I swear Werner Swanepoel wanted to go then. But Gary Teichmann is tired. There's a warm bath waiting, and he's saying to Percy Montgomery, into touch.
And that is it. South Africa win by 29 points to 11. They've been striding through Europe, swept aside France last week, Italy before that, and now England at Twickenham. Mark Andrews with one of 4 tries for his team. South Africa thoroughly deserve their win.
And alas, again, it's all too often the story of honest English endeavour. Great guts, great efficiency in the first half, but they didn't have the power, they didn't have the pace. And what will worry Clive Woodward most of all, they didn't have the creativity to really trouble South Africa.
So what did Woodward learn about individuals? Who would you single out today?
Well, I think the back row experiment worked quite well. I think Neil Back did very well today. I think he deserves a run at number 7. I think Archer played well, but behind the scrum, the big problem is who's going to make the space and who's going to run into space. Unanswered questions.
So no lack of appreciation this week, although the Twickenham crowd responded. There was plenty of passion and zest in the stands, and also from England early on. And remember, at one point England were in front by 11 points to 0, but they ran out of steam against a powerful and skillful Springbok side. And it's a final score of England 11, South Africa 29.
So South Africa's class winning through. They submerged England in that second half with some fine passages of play. They retained possession, and eventually the English tacklers ran out. And we've got Nick Farr-Jones, Bill Beaumont and Dowie Morris in the studio with us, and those fans leaving the stadium now won't necessarily be that pleased with what they saw from England, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, for the first 30 minutes, they recycled possession well, defended well, England. Led 11-0, but for 41